What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Alex here from Team Generations, and today we are going to be doing something a little bit different. We are going to be looking at just the competitive viability of V Premium and just the format in general. Is it going to survive? What is the outlook in general? How is it currently doing? I saw a video. The real inspiration for this video is a video that I saw maybe a day or two ago. Obviously, that was their opinions, but they said a lot of different, like, disparaging things almost about V Series, but not in a purely mean way, just more of in this like a cynical kind of like doomer way in a sense. I don't know how to really describe it, so I'm not gonna name that video. I'm not gonna name that person. I don't really know them or anything, and I thought they brought up a lot of good points, but I think a lot of their misgivings came from just like a misunderstanding, or maybe just something that I perceived that they didn't understand. So I'm gonna kind of go over my idea, maybe counter some of the points a little loosely, not really referring directly to the video, but there are a lot of valid criticisms out there right now, and I'm just going to talk about the format. Is it viable? Like I said, is it going to survive? What is the outlook right now? So let's hop right into it. I just want to quickly go over first the format itself. So if you're new to Vanguard, obviously you're probably playing standard, just D series overdress. You know, you've seen the anime with Yu and all that stuff. D icons, over triggers. That is standard. That is the D series. V Premium is kind of exists in its own bubble. It's really unique in that sense. So this is cards with only the V icon, obviously, over here, as we can see. This really means that any cards from like the 2018 period to, I think it was like, you know, just about in 2020 somewhere, any cards with the V icon, gifts, markers, things like that, that is really the V series. You cannot use any D cards in there, and you can't use older cards from like G, Legion, and so on and so forth. That's really where you get into premium. So if you want to use those older cards and have that G zone, you know, G guards, all that good stuff, and even the over triggers now you can use in this, and every new card, every single format, all put together is premium. So that is really its own cool playground. Again, I think you really do need a ban list, maybe. Hopefully we do see one coming up, but you know, Vision has made their own for their tournaments, and I'm not really going to go into the video here, but premium, V Premium, standard, we're focusing on V Premium today. So a lot of things that I hear today, just, I think the argument is that it's not super competitive V Premium. Like, there are just the best decks and that is it, and I really strongly have to disagree with that. I think I've made a previous video before kind of going over this, but I really think the better player most times will win. Obviously it's Vanguard, so luck stacking is a factor. Like, you really can't you can't get around that in Vanguard, but we don't have over triggers in V Premium, so I think that a lot of the luck factor in that regard, where a game gets stolen by that trigger, just don't exist. On top of that, I think the meta is so diverse in ways that people really almost don't realize. Now, yes, Prism, Luard, probably the best decks, there is no doubt, but ever since Gurgit got hit, I feel like the format's like wide open in a lot of different ways, and I think with this new heal trigger that they're coming out with, really will slow the format down in general and just make it a whole lot more viable, and just really give it like a super positive outlook in general for the format at large. So I do want to go over just decks first that I believe to be, like, I guess, viable in V Premium, and I have like a whole video. I'll link it down below. And if you know, you're trying to get into the format and don't want to spend a whole lot, there's a lot of different cards on that list, a lot of decks on that list, I'm sorry, that kind of give like a nice soft entry point, and I'll go over those in a little bit. But this is the heal trigger that I'm talking about. Again, this is the one for Nubatama, but it's going to be the same thing for every single, all 24 clans. Essentially, it is a grade 3 now, so you can search it out with grade 3 searchers. It still gives you that heal. It does have a 10,000, you know, base, which isn't that great, but it does have a 15k shield, so a little bit less than the 20k shields that we're used to in V Premium. But the real allure to this is the fact that these two effects kind of happen. So you can, when played, if you're on grade 2, your opponent's on grade 3, you're essentially going to give your Vanguard an extra 10k until the end of turn, or choose one of your opponent's units. It gets minus critical 2 until the end of battle. So that really slows the whole pace down, really can stop some of these, you know, grade 3 bum rush kind of decks, and just stop the format from being the, all right, it's a race to the finish line, like, who's going to get to that power spike first. It really slows the game down, and if you have this, I feel like it definitely is going to be better. And from our playtesting, we've done a little bit on like tabletop, just casually between us. I really do like these. I think that most of my decks, I run them in like a three of these, 1 regular heal ratio. You can go all 4, you can go a little less, depends on the deck itself, but I really believe this is going to do a lot of good for the format and kind of slow it down, like I said, and just stop this like degenerate, hey, get to 3, spam my markers, win. Like, I really do believe that, and I think this is like a great addition to that deck, and I mean to the format. And in general, like I said, there as it stands right now, there are so many decks that are viable. I really, just the other week I went to our locals with Blau. I think I lost one game. I beat Gabriel. I beat what was it, Night Rose. Beat all these different decks that are perceived to be so much better. Prison still is an issue. Prisms, Luard. I definitely think Luard is an issue in its own way, but I think these really do help address that. You can play Nightmare Dolls, you can play I think Big Belly is still a decent deck, a very, very like rush down kind of strategy. The Cross is still good. There are just so many decks. Gurgit, you can even still play. Spectral Duke is amazing. Chaos Breaker's okay. Kind of gimmicky, not the greatest in V, but in general, I think there are just so many decks. I can't even start to list them all right here. The format is just so diverse. So with this little tweak, I think it's really going to put it over the edge and really open it back up. So I know that also a big criticism of the format is barrier to entry. I keep on hearing this. So I'm going to give some credence to that. I'm going to say older cards like, let's say, I think I was on it previously, right? Yeah, Draconic Overlord at the end. $23 card. If you want to play the Cross, you have to get that. Great Dayusha. Let's look that up real quick. How do you spell Dayusha, right? Blah, blah, blah. Great Dayusha, yeah. I mean, yeah, these are $30 cards coming out of one of the original sets for the V series. In general, yeah, these are really expensive. But at the same time, you don't need to play these decks. Like, you don't need to play a Dayusha deck. What is Dayusha even doing right now? I mean, I guess Dai Kaiser's coming out and whatnot, and you can use it, but these are not necessary cards for the format. Let's look at like some of the best decks right now. Prison. This card, you can get a full play set right here for $12, a little more than $12. This is the best card in the format, and you can get a full play set for like $16 underneath, and the whole deck's probably going to run you under $40. What other TCG can you get the best deck of the format for $40? So barrier to entry in my mind for certain decks, yes, it is there. For a majority of them, no, not really. I mean, look, Gabriel 2. This is another one that everyone's complaining about. There are a couple, triple rare cards that might be a couple dollars here and there, and these are actually getting reprinted, these two. But Gabriel, you can get a playset. Let's see what the cheapest playset. $4.18, again, $16, and you get one of the top decks of the meta. The rest of the deck is, not that much at all to build out, maybe $20, $40 at most. All in all, again, you're in for about $50, $60, and you have, again, a top meta deck perceived as. Let's look at, like, Night Rose or something. I don't know. How much is Night Rose going for now? $10. All right, so yeah, whatever. Like, people are basically complaining about the reserve list. So what the reserve list basically says is that grade 3s, VRs, any VR rarity, something that only existed in the V series, will not be reprinted until 2023. That is a long time off, and I totally get that. But at the same time, like, there are so many entry points into this format that, yeah, the one particular card that you wanted maybe might be a little bit more, but at the same time, they have to protect their vendors. They have to protect people who invested into this format. Now, I'm not saying people invest like in Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh, whatever, but at the same time, vendors have to front this capital, and they might have stocks like just sitting around. They have to sell these sets somehow, and these chase cards have to retain some value to get that going, like Mordred, whatever the case may be. Like, even as a player who owned a lot of these cards off the get-go, I'm currently looking for them to just, be revamped, revived. I really do want to, let's look at Mordred. I want to play these kind of cards again. And Illusionary Avenger, Mordred Phantom. All right, so $18, the original one, that doesn't count. I mean, this is an expensive card, but at the same time, when I bought it, I think I bought it for $24 a copy. And now that I get to play it again, now that it's seeing some value once again, my upset, not necessarily is a new player who wants to maybe get into this clan. Yeah, that could be unfortunate. Like, a lot of these things are kind of spiking now because of the new support possibly coming out. But at the same time, like I said, you have to protect your vendors, and I don't think their focus is really to get absolutely new players into V Premium. They're really looking to just continue the people who were invested in it, just keep on going, because they have the support twice a year, which is really, really beneficial. I'll go over that in just a minute, but I think on the flip side too, while some cards might be a little bit high, like so many of them, like I pointed out before, like Prison, like let's look up Spectral Duke. That's a good deck. Spectral Duke. Oops, Spectral. Where is he at? Spectral Duke Dragon. There we go. Look at that. $2.21. The rest of the core is really not that much. Aglovale is going to get reprinted. Look at that. 39 cents, 39 cents, 79 cents, 10 cents. I mean, you have such a competitive format that just is so viable. So many different decks are now viable in it. So I really don't think there is this barrier to entry. I don't think that's fair. There's tons of other decks too, Gridora, Victor, that kind of stuff that are like, tier 2 or whatever, that aren't the greatest, but you can still play the format and have a decent shot. Like, you really could high roll your way to victory with a lot of these different decks. So, even Gurgit. Let's look at the menace of the how do you spell Gurgit again? Gurguit. Yeah, Sunrise Knight Gurgit. This guy was running the meta for so long, $1.80. 20, 250, whatever. You can pick up a playset probably. Let's see what the cheapest. You're probably looking around $8, somewhere around there. So really, there is, this guy's getting reprinted, and it's there really is no excuse. There is no significant barrier to entry. There really is not. So actually, I don't know that this guy was getting reprinted. I think Aglavel was getting, not him. So he might retain his value, but there just isn't this huge barrier to entry. I really do not believe that is true. On top of that, I know people have a problem with the clan collections or clan selections. They're like, oh, I'm only going to be getting this twice a year. Let's take a look at Overdress right now, and let's take a look at Premium in just a second too. Overdress is getting support. We got their first set dropped in May for English. Our next set dropped in late July, I believe, and then we have to wait all the way till December for a mainline set. We're getting Lyrical Monasterio, if you want to count that, in October. That's 3 months in between. That's their mainline set. I'm getting V Premium support 6 months. So about half of the support that their mainline series is getting, I'm now going over and getting that in V Premium. That is crazy pacing to me. I really like the extended, the 3-month gap in between a lot of these different support clans and whatnot. I personally am a big fan of that. I know some people, are like, the format's too stale. You're releasing 24 clans every 6 months. You are basically pumping new life into it over and over. And this is 24 clans. There's no way you're going to be playing all 24 clans. You can, even if you have 5 or 6 or 7 of those clans built out and you get their support, that is still a lot of variety to go through. And I really don't think you're going to burn out and fizzle out. I think a lot of people speaking about this, just the staleness of the format, they don't play V Premium. These people, I hear some of these videos, I see their posts, these people straight up don't play. Like, I heard somebody talking about Gurgit, how Gurgit is like the best deck. I'm like, it is still a viable deck, but have you played the format in the past maybe 8 months? Somebody wants to go out and make a video about that, but not really, I guess, be ingratiated in the format, play it, weekly, whenever it is. Like, that doesn't add up in my head. So I personally believe that, the format is diverse right now. That support, the 6-month support, is absolutely fine because you're getting every single clan, giving yourself some time to work things out as well. And they do have monthly promos too. They're still trying to revitalize some of the older decks, which I really, really like. So barrier to entry, I don't think is like a huge issue. Outlook going forward, I guess, to wrap this whole thing up, I think V Premium is fine. I think if people play it, BSFO, that was the most represented event. Now, I get it. You're going to say, hey, look, Overdress just came out. People wanted to stick with what they were good at the time, whatever, what they believed was broken. Yes, I totally get that. But at the same time, V Premium still had the most representation. On top of that, I feel like it had the most diversity. You saw so many different decks in there. Like, I saw so many different things being played, and I was so happy to see that. In the end, obviously Luard, Prism, very good decks, but you can honestly go with almost anything and have a great shot to top. So I really believe that the format is diverse and viable, and I think that the 6-month kind of support for all 24 clans is absolutely fine. And the price of those sets, if the past clan selection is any indication of it, I think that the pricing on that is absolutely fine. What was the most expensive card? I think Chaos Breaker, probably, for all the hype, was the most expensive thing. For a playset of everything for Chaos Breaker, I think in the beginning probably was $80, somewhere around there. But everything else, when you look at it now, they're dollars. You can go build out a Mega Colony deck for $10. You can go build out a really viable Grand Blue deck. What is Ghosties at right now? Beatrice, let's see what Beatrice SP is, $15. But yeah, $3 for this. It really was never that much at all. So I really think that going forward, the viability and survivability of the format is fine. And on top of that, every V set that drops is support for Premium. Premium helps carry this as well because, all these cards are just eligible in Premium. This V clan selection drops, half the people are talking about, oh, for V, I really like this, that, whatever. I'm going to play this. I think this interacts well with that. On top of that, you have a a whole nother section of people just sitting there with a big brain and basically figuring out the premium interactions. I'm not super deep in premium like that, to be honest. I cannot fathom that off the top of my head, but at the same time, all these great resources are out there. I really like Commander Jaime's blog posts. He always put like he dives so deep into Granblue. I love reading that stuff, even if I don't play it necessarily all the time. Whenever I'm tweaking my Granblue premium deck, I always love to reference that kind of stuff. But just the fact that V is tied so closely in with premium, I think will really help float it as well. So just look on posts whenever things come out for this clan selection. Just look at people's reactions. I think that in general they're very positive, aside from like Ragey or whatever. I think the new design team knows exactly what they're doing. I think they've done like an excellent job so far in correcting the format, and I think going forward we're just going to see even more great stuff. So that is really my kind of closing thoughts. I think I kind of went over everything. Going forward, again, V Premium, to wrap it up in a sentence, is diverse. You can play a lot of different things. I think it is going to be very healthy once those triggers come out, those grade 3 heal triggers, and I think the support is adequate. Overdress is our main format now. Like there is no getting around it. People want to play Overdress. They want to, if you're introduced to the game, it's just a great format overall. But it has the over triggers, V Premium doesn't, which, just for lacking something, I don't think should be a boon to V Premium. But I think that a lot of that huge, RNG is just taken away, so that makes it better. But I think that it is a fine format going forward. I think that, if you have the ability, talk to your local shop owner, you want to establish like a night for, V Premium and your locals, like, go for it. Like, you're going to see people having fun. Like, it's definitely a diverse format, and I think people will enjoy it. So going forward, I really think there is a lot of positivity for V Premium. I know personally we're going to play it, be expecting all of our deck profiles. Subscribe if you haven't already. And if you are new to the game in general, like I said, I do have down in the comments below, in the show more section, whatever, in the description, I will put a video kind of showing you some of the great entry-level decks into Vanguard that can really give you a very, very competitive kind of chance. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know your opinions down below. I love these kind of videos because I love to see the comments that you guys make. You guys are always like awesome down in the comments. So thank you guys again. Try not to flame me too bad. And this is Alex from Team Generations signing out.